Hello trainers, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Pablo, aka Tablemon, and today we're going to be playing with a Venusaur VMAX deck with Rillaboom. Really easy and fun combo to build. So let's take a look at the list. Alright, here's the Venusaur VMAX deck that I've cooked up for today. We are going to be playing our beautiful 3-3 line of Venusaur VMAX. This brand new VMAX has 330 HP, which is a really good amount for Pokemon VMAX standards overall, and we have the attack Forest Storm, which does 30 damage for each grass energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So how are we going to get a ton of energy into play so that we can do massive damage? Well, we are going to be utilizing our League promo Rillabooms. With the ability Voltage Beat, we can search our deck for up to 2 grass energy cards, attach them to one of our Pokemon, and shuffle our deck. So Rillaboom not only will help power up Venusaur VMAX in a single turn and potentially allow it to utilize the G-Max Bloom attack, which has some use for sure, 210 and healing 30 damage. The main idea will be to get a lot of energy into play and hopefully demolish our opponent that way by doing a ton of damage with Forest Storm. Now, we are going to be utilizing Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor GX's Super Growth attack so that we can search our deck for a card that evolves from one of our grass Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it, and if that Pokemon is now a stage 1, and you may search your deck for a stage 2 as well. So we're gonna get to Rillaboom immediately, even from the first turn, as long as we are going second, so that we can pull off that attack. Utilizing Calming Hurricane and Tropical RGX are also very nice options. Stacking a ton of grass energy onto Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor can be a pretty good idea because we power up our Venusaur VMAX, and also we can utilize Tropical Hour GX to reshuffle all of our opponent's energy they have in play. As long as we have 3 extra energy attached to his Pokemon, your opponent shuffles all their energy attached to all of their Pokemon back into their deck, essentially resetting their board. So there's a synergy right there between the grass type Pokemon. We're also going to be playing with a grass type Eldegoss for the Happy Match ability, allowing us to recycle a supporter, and also we're going to be utilizing Crobat's Dark Asset ability in order to draw extra cards until we have 6 cards in our hand. And actually, I'm going to make this change fairly quickly here. I want to play with the shiny Crobats, not the ugly non-shiny Crobats. Now, they're not ugly, but the shiny just looks nicer, right? I'm sure you all would agree. So in order to set up, we're going to be utilizing a tag call engine. Allows us to search for 2 tag team cards, and that includes the tag team Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor GX card, along with Cynthia Caitlyn, Kuzmahala, and Malolan. Kuzmahala is the key card here because it allows us to search for a stadium, and as long as we discard 2 cards, allows us to search for a Pokemon tool card and a special energy, which in turn gets us the air balloon so we can retreat into the Rowlet and Alola Exeggutor, and gets us the capture energy, which when we attach it can't fetch the Grookey that we need to evolve. So a ton of synergy right there. We only play 2 copies though because we don't need 4, like we'll really only use this on turn 1 and that's it. And then for the stadium, it's also a very useful stadium. The Turffield Stadium allows us to search once during our turn for a grass type evolved Pokemon and put it into our hand. So that allows us to search for the Venusaur VMAX and potentially other Thwackies and Rillabooms to establish 2 Rillabooms into play, which is our goal, so we can get a ton of energy into play. Marty will help us draw cards and disrupt and slow down our opponent. Malolana will help us heal. Our Pokemon have a ton of HP, so as long as we're not playing against a fire deck, Malolana should help us in turning 2 hit KOs into 3 hit KOs, and maybe even 3 hit KOs into 4 hit KOs. Finally, Cynthia Caitlyn provides draw and also allows us to recycle a supporter, which is very nice. Boss's Orders allows us to target down whatever Pokemon we might need in case they're threatening us. And Quick Ball, of course, helps us search for any of the basic Pokemon that we need to set up. Finally, in the late game, we might need to use Ordinary Rod to put back especially basic energy so that we can make sure we are hitting those big numbers with the Forest Storm attack. So let me save the change to the Crobat V, which you can also get very easily from codes, just like the Venusaur Vs and the Venusaur VMAXs and the Rillabooms, right? So it's really easy and simple to build the deck. Every other card in the deck is definitely not very expensive or difficult to pull from booster packs and booster codes, so definitely encourage you to give it a try and watch the video, see if you like the deck. Now, disclaimer, this deck is definitely very, very weak to fire decks, so if we run into one, we might just get burnt up. So you do want to go second with this deck. As I explained, we can't evolve immediately, which is really, really awesome. And that's exactly what we are going to do. We're going to start with a Venusaur so I can draw extra cards with the Crobat. We're also going to get a mulligan, so that's really nice. And we will also find out that we are up against an ADP deck, right? So that's already pretty clutch information to have. ADP probably gonna be a tougher matchup overall, unless we are able to reset their energy and get going that way. We shall see. We shall see. We don't have energy denial, which is usually the best way to combat ADP, right? But they have no information and no tell on what I have in my hand, right? So yes, they get the Crobat KO. Yes, that's impactful, but it's also so random, right? To do that I don't know. It just feels weird to me. To do blind Mowile abilities on turn 1, it feels wrong. But anyways, it works out for my opponent. They bench the Crobat, so I can no longer utilize that. They don't hit an energy of Intrepid Sword, so that's always good. And alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and tackle, right? I'm gonna grab this, and I'm just gonna double check to make sure that I have my Grookey pieces, my Rillaboom evolution line rather, and my Herballoon and my Capture Energy. I did price 1 copy of each, but that's why you play 2. The chances of, when you play 2 copies of a card, the chances of pricing both of them is only like 1%, so this is pretty safe. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and bench this. We're going to go ahead and Guzmahala away the Venusaur, and I want to say a Quick Ball. I feel like I want as many grass energy as possible right here. Yeah, and then we'll grab that, and that. Not bad at all. I don't think I'll have time for a second Rillaboom here, so that's what I'm playing around sort of. And we're gonna go ahead and retreat, establish the Rowlet, utilize the turf field, get some use out of it because my opponent is playing Chaotic Swell. We saw it on the mulligan, so we're gonna go ahead and Super Growth, get the Rillaboom out, and then my opponent will GX, and then that's where the fun begins, right? That's where the fun begins. The longer the game takes, the stronger our deck gets, but we'll see. So we do see a big charm. That doesn't save my opponent from getting 2 shots, so I'm really surprised to see it get attached there. We do get more need, but thankfully at this point we only need 1 energy to start applying pressure, and the Tropical Hour GX attack might actually come into play here. Alright, pretty decent hand. There's a Chaotic Swell, as I mentioned, so not gonna have immediate access to the Venusaur VMAX just yet. So it'll be interesting to see if my opponent goes after the Rillaboom or if they go after the Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor. And in fact, Malolana. I still have other tackles. I'm thinking of the Malolana because if they go boss, well, if they go boss, they're taking a KO, right? So never mind. Just gonna go ahead and get rid of the Venusaur. Get back the Guzmahala, sure. Draw extra cards, and there's the Venusaur VMAX. But right now, the main focus will be the Tropical Hour GX attack, honestly. So far, my opponent doesn't threaten me with a big KO with Seishin, so that's really important because Seishin, in order to KO my Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor, it would need to have the Rusted Sword attached, and it has an Herballoon, so we would need a brand new Seishin and the sword to threaten us. Which there's a brand new Seishin. We do see the research, so that's really good. That means my opponent is not taking a knockout this turn. That is really, really good. And we will be able to shuffle away all the energy that my opponent has in play, which is also really good. So then my goal will be to start taking one-shots, right? Hopefully, by reshuffling all the energy that my opponent has in play, they won't be able to have a follow-up attack, and then Venusaur VMAX can start cleaning up. I also know I prized a Alolan and an Rillaboom, so the chance of me hitting one of those after I take this knockout on the ADP is actually pretty big. Alright, so we're gonna see a spinner. And yeah, another good thing is that my opponent's deck will be pretty full after this attack, right? It will be pretty full after this attack. Alright, I'm excited. If we can beat ADP with this deck, then there's a chance. There's a very solid chance. And ADP is considered one of the best decks in the format overall, right? So there is a solid-ish chance. I guess the biggest threat to my Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor is the Mawile. So maybe I should have grabbed the Alolan with that tackle. Maybe that was a mistake now that I come to think about it. Because if I healed this turn, well, I wouldn't have been able to retreat though, so never mind. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, I think it's just Marnie here. Deny my opponent's resources, make their deck as big as possible, therefore the least likely it's going to be that we get KO'd. Or at least that's the hope, right? So I'm playing a tackle, which maybe I shouldn't be doing, so I was thinking of establishing a Grookey. I mean, the Mawile KOs me anyways, right? So if this guy goes down to the Mawile, I'm in trouble no matter what. So I might as well just Tropical Hour. They need a Saucer because they do have an energy in their discard pile and an energy that will get them the knockout with Mawile. And that will put us in a lot of trouble. If they don't do that, however, we will be in a very good spot because Venusaur VMAX with 8 energy in play, that's 240 damage, with 9 energy in play, that's 270, and that is a one-shot on anything that we want. But there's the Metal Saucer. Yeah. So we martied my opponent into the KO. The Alolan wasn't a mistake though. The Alolan generally wasn't a mistake. Okay. The good thing is that there isn't a cessation threatening us at the moment, right? My opponent shouldn't be able to win the game next turn. Oh, they play Leon, okay. So, not a very normal ADP deck, if you will, right? Down 2 Metal Saucers, that's the key part. That is the key part right here. And they Marnie me, okay. So yeah, definitely a very weird ADP list that they're playing. So you can see I have my really cool Venusaur VMAX Venusaur VMAX sleeves. And now we're dead drawing, unfortunately, and all the good cards are pretty much at the bottom. All the good cards are pretty much at the bottom. My opponent finds another Metal Saucer. So we know they're gonna have access to Boss, right? To try and KO the Rillaboom. They're gonna get 4 cards as well, 4 extra cards. So it's not looking great. It's not looking great. This was always going to be a tough matchup. This having the Air Balloon meant I couldn't do the Alolan play. It got messy very quickly, right? And now I'm in a horrible spot where I'm dead drawing pretty much. So there's not much I can do about this. So I'm just gonna do Forest Storm, set up the 2-hit KO, I guess. So Mawile right now is doing 100 damage. If I use Max Bloom, healing 30, I'll have 70 damage on me, which is perfect match for Sage and V to come up to 260 and knock me out. Or they even have Leon, right, to take me out because we know they have Eldegoss. So it's just not looking great. I'm not seeing how I could possibly win this game at this point anymore. They even have the sword. So my only saving grace at this point would be if they somehow don't have energy and I top deck a Alolan to heal. That's the only humanly possible way that I'll be able to pull this off. Yeah. Okay, so they're just gonna spread their energy. They're gonna reset stamp me. I am actually fairly happy about that. And there's an Aurora energy. What? With a Mewtwo discarded. Okay, and then we get Marnie. Interesting Marnie plus reset stamp play. Alright. So back to dead drawing. Back to dead drawing. With a full Grookey line in our hands. They have a Station powered up, they're just gonna let them all go down. They have Mew as well. So now we know their Eldegoss is sort of at the bottom of their deck. I don't understand what they're trying to do. I mean, we've lost anyways, but the way that they were... Oh, okay, so they were digging for the escape rope, so it's game. Right, it's game. I'll let them take the knockout. That will be game. Why are they not attacking? Dude, okay, so this is something, trainers, that I will encourage you not to do, right? If you have won the game, right? If all you need to do is attack to win the game, don't play extra cards, right? All my opponent needed to do was click on the attack to finish the game, but then he's playing a quick roll for whatever reason, which is just like, it's bad manners, right? And it's not great. Don't be that person. All right, so on to the next game. We set up pretty nicely. It's just we got overpowered by honestly one of the best decks, if not the best deck in the whole format. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do in this upcoming game. My opponent chooses to go first, and they have an Arceus coin, so we might be up against the exact same thing yet again. And we're gonna start with the Eldegoss, I guess. Better than starting the Crobat for now. Alright. And okay, this might not be ADP because there's a Exeggutor right there. The Great Ball fails. See an Air Balloon. And we see a Crobat. So now my opponent's deck box is telling me maybe I'm up against Eternatus, but I actually have no clue what I'm up against now. Alright, so we're gonna do our own strategy, right? We're gonna check for the Air Balloon and the Capture Energy. They are there, which is fantastic. So things are looking pretty good for us. I'm gonna go ahead and do this, right? I know I have extra copies of Rillaboom, so I can afford to discard them, and I can definitely afford to discard the other Guzmahala. My opponent is also not threatening me at all whatsoever, so that's actually really good news. We'll establish the Grookey, and then we will quick wall away. Let's need the Caitlyn for the Venusaur. So honestly, as perfect a start as we could hope for, almost. And we'll use Crobat to replenish our hand, get more resources in there, and we will also get the Venusaur VMAX into our hand, retreat, and evolve into Rillaboom. So honestly, not bad. Not a bad start. There's very, like, the deck flows very nicely. The one small issue with this deck perhaps might be that its attacks are predictable, right? And they can be played around, such as we saw in the previous game. But if you leave it unchecked, right, if you don't apply a ton of pressure to it, then it's gonna get out of control really quickly. All right, so based on the fact that my opponent chose not to attach energy to the Crobat, I'm discarding the idea that we're up against a Crobat VMAX deck, and we are up against an Eternatus deck. All right. That is a pretty big thing to know. We do get reset stamped, so my opponent probably just trying to draw extra cards off of their own Crobat. By doing that, I'm really surprised they discard the Evil Doll. I feel like I would have just discarded the reset stamp because Evil Doll adds to the damage that you do. So that was a very peculiar choice by my opponent, but hey, who am I to question them, right? Who am I to question them? Okay, so I could start attacking with Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor. I feel like that's the way to go. My opponent takes a knockout on that guy, though I would be in trouble. Based on the fact that they didn't play much else, they lose the attacker. I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous here. Maybe I should just start powering up the Venusaur VMAX instead. And use the Alolan to have that in the active. Maybe that's the way to go. Yeah, I actually think I like that better. So I'm gonna play the Alolan. I'm gonna bring up the Eldegoss because that has free retreat. And then let's start powering up the Venusaur VMAX. That's definitely the plan, I guess. And I'm gonna play the Turffield Stadium, just grab this card. I'm grabbing it because I'd rather not top deck Thwackey and just top deck something else, right? Top deck something else that is hopefully a little more useful. Alright, so we're gonna nurble enough the prizes. My Venusaur VMAX should be able to take a hit from an Eternatus VMAX, right? Absolutely should be able to. Alright. I mean, I guess if they play Scoop Up Nets, they could technically fill up their bench and play 6 damage counters onto Venusaur VMAX. But they choose not to, which makes sense. One card that you could play for sure is not Scoop Up Net, sorry. I was thinking of the opponent's deck. Big Charm. Big Charm might be a good card to consider. So yeah, with what's going on, there is definitely a big chance that we could have gotten taken down if we had left the Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor in the active. So glad I chose not to. My next play will probably be to just hit for Gmax Bloom 210, heal a little bit of the damage, and wow, only 150. Yikes. So if I had the Alolan now, that would actually make a big difference. Alright, so what's my plan now? I feel like I might want to establish another Venusaur VMAX right here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna power up the active. I think I priced a ton of grass energies too. And then I'm gonna go ahead and Marty, just to get more resources for myself. If I could have healed with my Alolan this past turn, oof, that would have been so big. But no use in crying over spilled milk, right? Get the Venusaur VMAX to evolve potentially next turn. Go ahead and Gmax Bloom, because that does more damage than Forest Storm. Sets up the 2-hit KO on this. And we'll see. Yeah, we shall see what happens. The Crushing Hammer is not super impactful. Definitely annoying, but not super impactful so far. It's gonna... Wow, Pokegear. It's gonna come down to what my opponent does this turn. Like right now, they don't have the knockout. They need 2 more Pokemon, which they're definitely gonna get, right? But still, it's not guaranteed, I guess. I know I've whiffed. When I needed 1 more Pokemon, I know I've whiffed. And look, my opponent discarded the Pokecom just to establish the other VMAX when they could have guaranteed the KO. I don't know. Okay, so now we need them to whiff energy. And they are down a decent amount of energies, right? They're down 3 for 5, and Eternatus lately usually plays 9. There's the energy, however. So there's the boss. Venusaur, a follow-up Venusaur doing 120 is actually 10 damage short of the knockout, so I won't be able to... It's not looking great here for us. Venusaur VMAX is in a little bit of trouble right here. They haven't filled up their bench yet, though. 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 1 Crobat left. They have 2 Eternatus left, of course. Well, not of course, I guess. Maybe they don't play that. Alright. So let's do this. Okay, the only way I can KO is through Calming Hurricane. If I assume they have boss's orders in hand... Yeah, so the Crushing Hammer Head Flip actually mattered so much. So much. So I'm trying to think, what should I play towards? To them not having energy plus a full bench? Or... I mean, I have 2 Marnies left. My Eldegoss is not available because I start with it. If I can Marnie them, then I'm more confident in just holding my hand, right? So I guess that's what I play towards. I mean, I can always power up. Well, how many energy do I have left? That's important to note. I have exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I also need ordinary ones at some point. Okay. So if I'm playing towards Marnie, I think I always attach here. I definitely think I always attach here. If I get Marnie, I think I just pass. If I don't get Marnie, which I don't, we've only seen 1 switch and 2 air balloons. So I guess I take the knockout and hope. It's not a great plan though. It's definitely not the greatest plan. Yeah, I guess I take a knockout and hope. Alright. Alrighty. There's the KO. We take our 3 prize cards. I guess I can't even win with boss next turn. But yeah, my opponent very happily doesn't even promote the free retreater, so they did have the energy. They also find that energy also finds them a basic Pokemon, so that's really good for them. They also have the quick wall, so they had the switch, so stalling out a turn with boss would not have helped us. They do Crobat for 2, and that's it. Right, that is the Dreadnought. So I don't know if they had boss or not. Maybe I should have played it a little safer. Not having the Alolan at the right time also hurt us. Not being able to Marnie away their hand also hurt us. So a lot of things that starting Eldegoss also hurt us because then I couldn't quick ball for the Marnie through Eldegoss. So a lot of things, even though we had a beautiful turn 1 setup and my opponent had a horrible turn 1 setup, we ended up lagging behind. Overall, I don't know, maybe I should have just taken the risk of hoping the Alolan Exeggutor would survive. Maybe that was the way to go, and that way I would have saved the Alolan to heal it, afterwards attacked then with the Venusaur VMAX, taken a hit with the Venusaur VMAX, and everything that my opponent did would have been delayed by a turn, which would have given me that 1 extra turn that I needed to close out the game. Not much I can do about that. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. This was Tablemon. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next PoTown video. Bye bye.